Okay, so I hope you found the presentations of the installations useful and that they managed to answer at least some of your questions. Before moving to the Q&A session, I would like to go briefly through our role in the project as well as some of our key objectives. As mentioned earlier, my name is Yankulova. I'm a research project manager at KPMG Future Analytics, and I'm here with my colleague, Malika Singh, our research coordinator. KPMG Future Analytics is leading Geolab's networking activities, which are a core element of the project. They culminate in workshops and other events, which for the time are being virtual, but hopefully would also be physical in the not too distant future, in order to foster a digital and in real life community. Our tasks focus on widening the use of and access to the major and unique experiment installations available in the Geolab research infrastructure that have been presented earlier. Reach out to new users in academia and industry with a special focus on next generation researchers and female inclusivity, and disseminate results from the project and from the collaborative transnational activities to international peer-reviewed high-impact journals. Our overall goal is to provide a productive channel to communicate with different stakeholder groups, including users from academia, industry, SMEs, critical infrastructure managers, and policymakers. Our first call for proposals have been launched on the 9th of June, and further information has already been presented this morning. But what we would like to do is to invite you to join on social media and visit our website for more information regarding the installations, our partners, specific contacts, and also future collaborative initiatives. That's it from our side. If you have any questions that are directed to us, please feel free to drop us a line. You can see my email and Malika's email on your screens. And we can move to the Q&A. So thank you. As well, I know that our coordinator Ton already answered to some of the questions, but perhaps we can start from the beginning and make sure that nothing goes unanswered. And if it does, we'll follow up individually once we have once this webinar is over. So there was the question this morning, one of the first questions that we received, and Ton answered to that, but I think it's an important one to just bring our attention to. And it was regarding the fees for publication. So perhaps, Ton, if you would like to elaborate on that.
So this is on the cost of open access fees. Yeah, we would need to discuss that. Basically, the idea, of course, is that we do the experiment, and after that, there's a 2-year phase where there's sort of an embargo on the results, and you do your analysis and you prepare your publication. And I think it would depend on who issues the publication in the end. And so that's something we could have a look at. But I cannot now confirm that it can be paid from the Geolab cost of the project, the budget. After these 2 years, then the ball is more with Geolab, because we have to disseminate the results. So then Geolab will take initiative to publish also in collaboration with the party that performed the experiment. Then I could imagine that it would be more logical that it's for the cost for Geolab.
There was another question for Ioannis. Can you elaborate a little bit what research and innovation is exactly facilitated with the Geolab facilities in the area of climate-related environmental risks? Can you provide with some examples? Ioannis, if you could address this question.
I think this question came before the presentation of the installation, so I suppose some of the examples were there. We saw climate chambers, we saw things related to erosion, so I think there were some examples in the presentations of facilities. I don't know how much more I can elaborate.
Yeah, so I see that what studies can you facilitate related to flood, storm surges, landslides, drought-related risks of environment?
Okay, landslides can be modeled in a centrifuge. Floods, there is equipment that can be used to model floods. So, for example, we have such equipment at ETH, but I don't know, perhaps there is also in other facilities. What else?
Droughts-related risks. That's the other question.
Droughts, yes, I don't have any feedback on this. Maybe with a climate chamber, this could be modeled.
Yeah. That could be something that is improved capability in the joint research activities and then become available during next rounds of transnational access.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Thank you both. There was another question, and Tony already answered in the chat, but I just would like to reiterate, what is the minimum number of user group members that can submit a proposal? And you said that would be at least 2 researchers and they can jointly submit 1 proposal. Our user group can also consist of multiple organizations, university working together with an industry partner. And I think it's in our preparation for the event, we wanted to highlight that this kind of collaborations are particularly beneficial because they cover all aspects, including the publication towards the end. So perhaps if you would like to just mention something to that end.
If you ask me what would be an ideal user group, it would basically be of those 3 groups. So a university, a solution provider in the industry, and a critical infrastructure manager who is really enthusiastic about the innovation. That would sort of be ideal, but it can also be, of course, a university proposing as a sole institution proposing a proposal. About how many people should be in the research group, I said, well, at least 2, but I was corrected already that it is at least 1. But I would say that a small group, do they also have the capabilities to do the analysis and the publication over this long period of time? So what guarantee do I have that the result is going to be a publication by 1 researcher? And so that's a little bit why I think it would be better to have user groups that are bigger than 1.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Let me mention one more thing, Anna.
Sure.
There is much more information on the website on all the facilities. So the presentations did cover a little bit, but time was limited. So I suggest to all the potential users to go through the website because there is much more information there.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Thank you for highlighting that as well, Ioannis. Please just visit our website and you'll find much more exhaustive reports highlighting the features of each facility. There's another question here. What is the maximum time that can be spent at 1 test facility? Is it possible to apply to multiple test facilities?
It is possible, yes. But we have to say that the intention is to fund short visits of the order of 1 month, up to 1 month. So I think, don't correct me if I make a mistake, but it is allowed. But we're talking about short visit in general.
Yeah, that's that. 1 month, up to 1 month is the idea. And of course, it's feasible to use multiple installation in 1 project, but there has to be a good reason for that. But I could imagine that you start with an innovation in a small scale test facility and want to scale up to maybe in a centrifuge or into the field. I mean, I could imagine that. But if that's a good it scores well and it is logical, then yeah, that would be feasible.
Yeah, I see that there is an addendum to that question. Is there an optimum size of a group that is more preferable?
Yeah, I already said about these 3 institutions. But I don't know. I mean, I'd say so 3 to 5 researchers would be good, or 2 to 5. I mean, you don't want a really large group, and it doesn't have to be that all the researchers join for the experiment. I mean, it can also be like 2 joining for the actual experiment, but the others collaborating in, because a lot of the work after the experiment is analysis and publication.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. I think that covers the questions that we had in the chat box. I invite everyone, if there are any other queries, to just submit them.
There's one suggestion of Marina to everyone from the technical committee 306, Geo-Education. And her suggestion is to produce in the project basically an educational video. I think it's a good idea, and it basically is already in the project. So yes, I could say we can do that.
Perfect. I also shared the website, the Geolab website, in the chat for those of you who would like to consult it. And again, please keep an eye over the next few days and weeks. We'll be uploading the recordings from today, just to make sure that you have full access to everything that has been presented. Are there any other questions or yes? Is it possible to involvement in different proposals for a given researcher?
Which one?
It's just the last question that we just received from Emmanuel Carvajal. I'm sorry for mispronouncing that. The involvement of different proposals for a given researcher.
Yeah, I would say yes. I don't see any objections to that. What do you think, Ioannis?
I think it is allowed. I don't know if it should be the leader of this proposal. So perhaps I don't remember any restriction.
Yeah.
How long can we spend in one facility? Normally up to 1 month.
Yeah, but that's the preparation, the performance, and afterwards the demobilization of the experiment.
Yes. So this does not mean that during this 1 month you will also do all the analysis of the results. This will happen later.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility to extend? Or split into parts?
To extend, I suppose this means to extend the experimental series. I mean, there is a limitation of budget because the project is paying for not only for the facilities, but also for travel and accommodation. So I suppose if we're talking, I don't know, Ton, if we're talking about a small extension, I suppose it's possible.
It's possible, but it has to be there has to be a good reason for that. Yeah. So it's really important for the innovation to extend a bit, that can be discussed.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's good for people to realize that this is not really a tender procedure. Right? This is more interactive. Of course, we have a policy for access, but you can interact with the facility owner on these kind of questions.
There is a need to. So let's say you apply for a proposal, and it is selected. It is very important to come in contact with a facility manager these 3 months in advance, so that there is time to prepare for the experiments. So when you come and this 1 month starts counting, everything should be more or less ready, or close to being ready, so that during this 1 month we have conducting experiments.
Okay, thank you. There's another question. Is the scientific panel already in place? Is this public information?
It's not public information, but we have a long list of panelists, and we will, after we receive the proposals, we will make a selection of about 10 to 12 panelists, and make sure that they are not involved in any way with the proposed applications. So we have a long list, go to a short list.
Thank you. And testing materials have to be local? It's the last question we have on chat.
I mean, testing materials, in most facilities, there are some materials that are well documented. So sand, clay, simple materials. So there are advantages of using the materials that are, when I say well documented, I mean that they have been tested. They have been characterized. So, of course, any material can be used, but there are advantages of using materials for which there is adequate documentation.
Okay. Thanks. Thank you, Ioannis. We are the webinar is coming to an end, so perhaps if there's any last question, we can address it now. If not, please feel free to contact us through the website or specifically to one of the speakers. You can find their information on our website in any case. So I think there are no other questions, it seems. So I would just like to thank you all for joining us today. I think that was really informative and definitely a good first webinar for us to have. We were overwhelmed by a number of participants, given that we're this early in the project. So thank you really for your time this morning. I also want to thank all the presenters for their excellent presentations and their effort to putting this webinar together. And we look forward to collaborating with you. So please get in touch with us, follow us on social media, and hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.